so that I'm not overhearing myself. All right, so that's now muted. Yeah. All right. And I'm going quiet. Everyone's seeing my face. I'll have a look at you for a little bit while I set the rest of this stuff up.
Perfect. Hello.
Good morning, anyone who's already there. We're just waiting for a couple more people to pop on, and we will get started. Robert, how's your Sunday going so far?
Oh, it's lovely. It feels early. I was sleeping today and it felt so good. But I'm very excited to be here on this quick recap. I'm
Yeah,
finally ready to we've had this in the works for a couple weeks, so I'm glad to finally talk about it.
yeah, we've been hiding this under our hats for a while, so it's going to be nice to show everybody what we've been working on behind the scenes, because I'm sure everyone was wondering what we were going to do after the debuts. So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be very exciting to see how everyone reacts to what we actually end up doing. Let's see. I only got 2 people watching right now. What's up, Nazario? What's up, Nico? See if anybody else pops in. We'll give them like 10 minutes. I don't know. We'll give them a little bit of time. While we have this time, let's just have a quick interview with the champ, Robert Parker. Robert, you've had, you're the champ. You've had 1 title defense.
Yeah.
Both times they were very dominant performances.
The second one not as much.
So what are you looking forward to after this? Like what are you looking forward to in the summer?
New blood, I think, is the easy answer. I'm looking for this league started. What we were doing play-ins at the very beginning of last summer. So as far as play-ins are concerned, it's been about a year that we've been doing Full Metal Geek, just under a year. And then our inaugural tournament started in the fall or the end of summer or something like that. And it's been the same 15 people since day one. The people who won their play-ins or got in on their play-ins. And now we're finally getting new people debuting in the league, and the debut matches have all been fantastic so far. Like really good performances, really high scoring, high accuracy matches. And I'm just really excited to see what these new people can do outside of their debut matches, because I write debut matches to be a little bit easier questions, try to get people's feet wet a little bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these new people are going to interact with the old people. We'll get into it in a little bit, but we have both vets, people who've been here for a while, and people who debuted this season, all in contendership. So I'm excited to see who comes out the other side.
Yeah, I 100% agree. These new people we've had coming in have been fantastic. These matches, I don't think we've had like anything that'd be considered a disappointing match since we've started this. And just to see how much it's grown already, it's amazing. The caliber of competitors we've actually brought in, and the caliber of people that we have wanting to come in is probably the biggest part of it. We started, and then we had so many people like, oh, how do I get in? How do I get in? And I'm like, wow. we figured we would have like some people who want to come in, but geez, just the amount of people that have come to us I know you've gotten the DMs, I got the DMs,
yeah,
people
absolutely.
who just want to play, and it's a little overwhelming. I guess when we took over as Sandy, we figured, okay, we have the tournament, so we have what we need, and we're good. And so this has definitely been an eye opener to how crazy this is really going to be.
Absolutely. And hopefully we can get some of those people in sooner rather than later. But as of right now, we really have to do this road to the title first. That's got to be our first priority, is to see who the next contender is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for anybody who's listening now, we don't want Robert raiding around forever. He's a champion, But Robert is definitely a fighting champion. Robert doesn't just like to sit there and hold on to the belt and shine it. I mean, I'm sure he does.
I do. It's true, but I like to play for it. I like to put it up, put it up on the line, get it a little bit dirty, and then shine it again once I win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like if we had the ability, like Robert would be like John Cena when he had the U.S. title, and he'd be putting it on the line every week. He'd be like, open challenge. Anybody who thinks they can come take me, come and try to take this belt from me. I'm pretty sure if Robert had the ability to do it, he would, because this man has no fear.
It's accurate. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity of question writers or the league to schedule that kind of thing. But you're absolutely right. I would if I could.
Get a couple more people getting in here, and then we'll get started. But just talking of another thing we could just randomly talk about. I mean, like it's crazy what this league does for us too, because like not only are we doing great in here, we're already seeing someone who was dominant in this league now in the Schmodown, dominating Kevin Smets. I mean,
yeah.
Robert, you're the only man who played him in this league and beat him. I mean, what is it like watching him just like crushing the competition over there in the Schmodown?
It's great. Kevin is a really good guy. He's a good friend. And yeah, no, it's fantastic to see somebody who like it's a little bit different than Chancellor Paul in the sense that he didn't like come directly from the fan leagues. But the sense that he played there, he wrecked house while he was here. And you know, it still helped him get his head in the game a little bit more. I've talked to him many times. I help him out here and there asking him questions. But seeing somebody really just like get their head on straight here and then go absolutely kill it there. I mean, he's going to be champion in no time.
Yeah, I mean, I think his next match against Navarro is definitely going to be one to watch. Like, I can't wait to see that match. That match is going to be insane, regardless of what happens. I mean, if he knocks out somebody else, that's insane in itself.
Yeah,
I think Hector Navarro has been away for a while. He knows he has a lot to prove. You know, he lost the championship. He came back in the tournament, lost in the. Actually, I think he lost in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. He lost in the first round. Yeah, so I mean, I think Hector Navarro's got something to prove, but so does Kevin Smets. He's got it to prove that he's not all hype. And I think he's definitely gonna. I think Navarro is gonna be his real like foot in the ground of like, I am here not to play. I'm here to win.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm like, I think that you know a win over Navarro is gonna like if Kevin's able to win, that puts him what 3-0. You know, wins against former champs, not just people off the street. Like that puts him in very serious contention.
Yeah. I mean, he technically kind of has the ability, like just a little Schmodown thing. Like when you really think about it, he's technically kind of has the ability to maybe possibly see Rachel in July.
Oh, absolutely. That's a very serious possibility.
Yeah, like, and I cannot imagine anything more exciting for that live crowd than to see someone who started, he said it before, so everyone should know this story. He auditioned for the Schmodown. Christian has said it too. He auditioned. He didn't do too well. Christian sent him down to us. He honed his game. He went back up there. So for someone like that to turn around and then go into title contention that quickly, I mean, I would love nothing more than to see that man be there live in July and possibly take the title from Rachel.
Yeah, I think that would be such a great story too. Like not just like as a personal friend of Kevin's, but as a fan of the show. Like somebody who was kind of dismissed at first, coming back and then going straight 4-5-0 and winning the title. Like that's insane.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we're giving people enough time to tune in, so here's the official welcome, everyone. How y'all doing this Sunday morning? Glad for those of you who have tuned in. I tried to make it as late as possible, but I also have work today, so I couldn't go too late in the day to make this announcement. But welcome to Full Metal Geek. This is our announcement for the road to the title. Now, with me, as always, is one of my co-commissioners, and that is Robert the Hobbit Parker, who is also right now your Full Metal Geek champion. So this is very exciting for him because we're going to break down basically how we're going to find his next number one contender. Like we said a little bit earlier, but for those of you just turning in, Robert is a fighting champion. Robert doesn't like to just sit around and hold the belt. He likes to keep earning and showing why he has that belt. So, I mean, we've been sitting on these plans for a long time. But before we get into them, I mean, Robert, just talk to the people, how excited you are as the champ to just see what's going to happen this summer and what it's going to lead to for you, what this possibly might mean for you when it comes to your next title defense.
Yeah, I mean, oh, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, essentially, it just means like last time we played for the title was when I played Sandy, and that was before every debut match, and then we had 6, 7 debut matches. It's been a good probably 3 months, just under 3 months since the title has been up for contention, and not just as the sitting champ, but also just as somebody who helps run the league. I think the championship should be up for grabs. There should be a quick turnover rate for title matches. I just think that people should be contending for them, playing for them as often as possible. Now, we had to, get a bunch of people to 1-0. We had to get through those debut matches, but now that we're there, we wanted to create a really unique way to determine the next contender, which is what I think we've done.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's how the road to the title is going to work. We are shooting for 4th of July weekend. Robert will be defending his title for the second time. And how we are going to decide that number one contender is not necessarily with the tournament, almost kind of like it, but breaks down a little bit differently. So, what we want to do is right before 4th of July, so late June, we are going to have 2 fatal 4-way matches. The winner of each of those matches will play for the number one contendership, and the winner of that will face Robert 4th of July weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, of course, we will continue on with the season, but this is going to drastically change the roster for this league. I mean, the standings for this league. Yeah, the standings have been very stagnant because we have a lot of 1-0 people, but of course, all of us who have been here longer, we may have more losses, but it's because we played more matches. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want to really do it in a tournament style to give everyone a fair chance. So what we have done is to decide the competitors for the 2 4-way matches. We've actually split this up into 2 groups. We have split it up into veterans and rookies. Now, the veteran side of the bracket is obviously those of us who have been here, those who have played, those who were in the initial tournament, basically all of us though there who were in title contention in the tournament, at least in one way or another. So how does that side work out? Well, first we're going to start off with the number 1 and the number 2 ranked contenders, and that is Sandy the Sandman Robinson and Dominic Rizzi. Both these men are the ones who have faced Robert for the title. Mm-hmm. Because of their high ranking, these 2 will automatically be in the fatal 4-way on the veteran side. So that's 2 of the spots. Sandy and Dominic are automatically in that match. Now that leaves 2 spots left open. One of those spots is going to go between a match of 2 people who, one has had a very bad string of luck, and one has had nothing but luck in this league, and that is myself as the number 4 ranked contender. And then this may shock everybody, but it's the number 19th ranked contender, that is Eli McKay. Now, yes, I understand all of you are about to freak out. Number 19 and he's getting a shot at the title? What the hell is that? Look, Eli has been with this group for a very long time.
Yeah.
Anybody who has seen Eli play knows that he knows his stuff.
He's better than 1 in 3.
He is better than 1 in 3. He has just had a very bad string of luck. That's why we are giving him a match against the person who literally has his ranking on nothing else but luck. and that's myself.
You're not giving yourself enough credit there.
Let's not sugarcoat it. I am a very lucky person. Let's not forget the only reason I have 2 KOs is because Eli and Caleb had horrible matches.
And both got opponent's choice.
But I mean, so that's going to be that match. So that the winner of that match will take the 3rd spot in the league. So it goes without saying, I personally, I am actually going to give it to Eli. Like I said, I am very lucky in the categories I get in round 2. I'm very lucky enough to at least get more than 50% in round 1. But my luck seems to be running out in a lot of other leagues. So if I'm just going as an outside observer watching my matches, my luck is running out. And I think this is Eli's perfect time to capitalize on that, because on base knowledge, I know Eli knows more than I do. So I'm going to give this one to Eli and say that Eli is going to be the one who ends up with that 3rd spot. Robert, honestly, completely non-biased. I know I give myself a lot of crap, but what do you honestly think?
So it's actually kind of interesting. Like, stats-wise, your total accuracy is just under his. And when I say just under, I mean by literally 2 percentage points. But then, you're like 15 seeds away, or like 15 ranks away from each other. In round 1, that's the way that I personally like to judge players the most. And I shouldn't say judge, that's the wrong word, but like evaluate. I do it based off of round 1 accuracy. You have a 50% round 1 accuracy, Eli, 55. And neither of you are particularly like excelling in round 1, which shows like the breadth of knowledge. The most well-rounded competitors do the best in round 1. So honestly, I think this is for either way. I think it really comes down to round 2 and what category you get. I think this match decided on what category you get in round 2. And personally, I think I'm going to go with Eli. I'm going to give it to Eli. I think he's going to take this one and move on into the 4-way to face Dom, Sandy, and the other person.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page. So that leaves one more spot in this fatal 4-way match. Now, this one's a little bit more complicated than just a one-on-one. We actually have 2 matches that need to happen for this one. So the first match that is going to happen is our 1-in-1 vets, which is going to be the number 11 ranked contender, Ed Sale, against the number 12 ranked contender, Jeremy Adams. Now,
they're both 1-in-1, so that's why that makes sense.
Yes, these are both 1-in-1 vets, so we want them to at least earn one more win. Now, this match, on paper, sometimes seems very close, but I have to give it to Ed. I mean, Ed's match when he came back, he didn't do too well in the tournament against Dominic, and he came back and destroyed in his first match back. Destroyed the first round, killed his second round. I believe it was a technical or a knockout. I can't even remember anymore.
Let me check the stats because I have the document up.
It was a KO or a TKO. I know that for sure.
Against Dan, yeah.
Yeah.
He came back and he pitched a perfect game and he TKO'd Jen.
Yeah, TKO'd Jen Kemp, which, once again, Jen Kemp is a very well-known figure in these leagues. We know her all-around knowledge is great. So to be able to say that is something. It's something to say. Mm-hmm. And then you have Jeremy. Jeremy, once again, does not believe he knows his geek stuff, but his overall movie knowledge is incredible, especially when you put him up against someone like Jake Marangoni, who is the same way. But Jeremy was able to pull it off just because, I mean,
and Jeremy TKO Jake in that match as well.
Exactly. And I think it's because Jeremy knows more than he thinks.
Jeremy is way too humble about his geek knowledge. He knows way more than he gives himself credit for.
Exactly. And but honestly, like I said, I still think I have to give it to Ed. His performance was just way more dominant, and I don't see Jeremy wanting it as much as Ed, and in this league, wanting it more sometimes is all it takes. So I'm going to have to give that one to Ed. What do you think?
Yeah, Ed is definitely, I think, more hungry for it, especially because he really wants to play the next person. Like you said, this 4th spot for the Veterans 4-way isn't just determined by a one-on-one. The winner of the winner of Jeremy versus Ed has to play somebody, and then the winner of that match gets in. I think that the idea of going, so it's not just instantly in the four-way. It's an idea of going on a run, winning match after match, having momentum. And I think that momentum, it works for Ed because of how hungry he is to prove himself for the title. A perfect game. He wants to stay on top of that game. He wants to beat Jeremy. He wants to beat the next person. He wants to win the four-way. He wants to play me. Like that picture of going on a run, I think is much more enticing to Ed than it is to Jeremy. So I'm going to give it to Ed as well.
All right, so like we said, so after this match, there is still one match until the Fatal 4-Way. The winner of Ed versus Jeremy will face the number 3 ranked contender. I don't know why I said it like that. The number 3 ranked contender, and that is Caleb Coho. Now, last time we all saw Coho, he was in a triple threat for a number 1 contendership. So now he finds himself having to play the winner of this match to get into a Fatal 4-Way for a number 1 contendership match. Now, here's where I lie on this. We all know how we all feel about Coho in the ring, how we feel about the king. Here's my thing. If our prediction goes as followed, and Ed is the one to face him, or actually even if it's Jeremy, Caleb's weakness is that he has made it abundantly clear what his weaknesses are in round 2. And he has the worst luck of either ending up with those categories or getting opponent's choice. Mm-hmm. Caleb's worst categories are Middle Earth and Wizarding World. Ed Sale's best categories, Middle Earth and Wizarding World. Mm-hmm. Ed literally has Caleb's number. I don't think Caleb can throw anything at Ed that he's not ready for. Ed has everything he can throw at Caleb that he's not ready for. Yeah. So Caleb, if you're watching this, dude, you need to study because whoever comes after you has something to use against you. But because of that, I'm sorry, I have to give it to Ed. Like you said, I think Ed's ready to make that run. And I see Ed Sales taking that last spot in the Vets Fatal 4-Way. What are you thinking, Robert?
Yeah, you said it exactly right. I think that Ed absolutely has Caleb's number. In round 1, let me check their accuracies. Caleb's total accuracy versus Ed Sales. Ed Sales has a higher total accuracy, and Ed also has a higher round 1 accuracy by a substantial amount, by about 20%. So, like, I gotta give it to Ed. I think Caleb is actually a really underrated player in this league. His record is 2-3. So I do think he is an underrated player. I do think he knows more than people give him credit for. But you said it exactly right. His weaknesses are very clear, and they are Ed's strengths. This is like a classic. There's not a category that Caleb knows very, very well that Ed doesn't also know well enough to like handle. So even like Caleb's a very good data player, release years, directors, composers, that kind of stuff. Ed isn't bad at that category. So we'll see, but I also have Ed beating Jeremy and then beating Caleb and going into the 4-Way.
Yeah. I will say the one good thing about Caleb, the one chance he really has here is Caleb's worst performances are always in multi-man matches. When he plays one-on-one, he does usually do a lot better.
He rises to the occasion. He took Sandy, who contended for the title, who gave me the hardest title fight I've ever had to play. He took Sandy into sudden death, like 4 questions into sudden death. Caleb rises to the occasion in singles matches. That is very true.
Yeah. So it really can't go any other way, but I still got to give the slight edge to Ed. So before we go to the Fatal 4-Way, so before we go to that, we are going to go to the rookie side first. So this is for all the debuters. The entire side of this bracket is entirely of all our debuting players. We've had 6 debut matches. All of them were fantastic. And so what we have is for 3 of the spots in this match, like I said, we've had 6 matches. The 6 winners are going to play each other for 3 of those spots. So how we have them matched up is we have the number 5 ranked contender Jay Burns against the number 8 ranked contender Harley. We have the number 6 ranked contender Jim Green against the number 9 ranked contender Tim Berkala. And then we have the number 7 ranked contender Case. I can never say his last name, so I'm not
Cornelison.
Huh?
Case Cornelison.
What he said against the number 10 ranked contender Kane. Now, we'll get on to the final spot after this, but just going down each of these matches right here. I mean, first we have Jay versus Harley. Now, Harley, she is great when she has drive. But if y'all haven't watched Jay's match, y'all need to go watch it, because when that man can get what he needs, he is dangerous. And I think both of these competitors share that commonality, is that like when they get what they need to pick it back up, they're dangerous.
Well, it's interesting to note, both of them, if I remember right, both of them got strengths in their round 2 in their debut. Because I believe Harley got Star Wars against Lucas, which, by the way, that was a really big upset for a lot of people. Harley beat Lucas, and I think it wasn't TKO. Harley beat Lucas, and it went down to the last question, didn't? Sorry, took me a second to remember that. But Harley beat Lucas, and that was a big shocker for some people. Now, Lucas hasn't been as focused on trivia recently, but still, Harley got a really big strength in round 2. She got Star Wars, and she got a lot of steals in that match. Jay, you all need to go watch Jay's match. There's obviously spoilers for it. He obviously won. They just posted this Friday, but he got his strength, and he ran with it. He threw an almost perfect game that match. He literally, I think, only missed maybe 1-2 questions. He played so dominantly in that match. I gotta give it to Jay here. I think Jay is a much more well-rounded player than Harley. When Harley gets what she needs and when the questions go her way, I think she can be a very, very dangerous player, and she does have that drive. She wants to, her and Jay are, building up that fight, but I do have to give it to Jay on this one.
Yeah, I'm actually going the same way. I think Jay's just a little bit more well-rounded, that if it doesn't go his way, he can bounce back. But Harley, though, just having played her myself, having seen her play, I know that if it starts to go south, it's very hard for her to come back. But we'll see. Anything can happen. But yeah, I'm going to have to give that one to Jay. So we move down to Jim versus Tim, which we did not plan. That's just actually how the cookie crumbled.
That just happened.
But now Jim had a pretty good match, pretty dominating match against Ryan Permison, which I wouldn't say that was an upset. I would probably say that was probably one of the most even matches we had of people going in predicting who was going to win. Like,
100%.
Yeah, like that. There wasn't a clear favorite in that one that like somebody was like, oh, if this person doesn't win, it's an upset. But Jim was able to pull it out with a very good performance. Like, let's not forget, like these guys are ranked like 5 and 6. Like, we're going down this because they did better in their matches than the other winners. Like, where they landed. So so that means he did the second best out of all the debuters in their win.
Yeah.
But Tim Berkala is something else. Tim Berkala impressed the hell out of me. The fact that he fell to number 9 is kind of weird. But like I said, like the people above him, very, very good players. And like we said, some of them above him, they got strengths in the first one. But I am actually going with the lower range competitor on this one. I'm going with Tim Berkala. I mean, him being Robert's partner in Fandom League, to me, says that this man probably actually studies. And when you narrow down, like what he's able to do in the Fandom League, when you come to something like this and the categories are narrowed, it's not as many categories, I feel like that's dangerous. And don't get me wrong, Jim does too over there. But I got to give it to Berkala. What do you think, Robert? Non-biasedly, what are you thinking?
No, yeah, absolutely. And the interesting is that like Tim is ranked lower. I think Tim might be. Is he the lowest ranked of all the 1-0 players? I believe he might be.
That's the next person.
Oh, okay.
That's in the next match.
But his accuracy wasn't great in that match. I think he only got 5 or 6 in round 1. He did good in the other rounds, but like not fantastic. Like Tim didn't have a stellar debut. But now knowing that he has the opportunity to play me, and I mean, obviously knowing him personally because he's my brother-in-law, I know how hungry he is. And he and Jim just played in Fandom. That match hasn't gone up yet, but they played in Chicago. And like that match was really, really good. And you're absolutely right. Like, Tim is good in fandom. He's better in Geek. So I'm also going to go with Tim. I think Tim's knowledge, I have more firsthand understanding of what his knowledge base is, and I think it's more well rounded than Jim's. And I honestly think this might be the most even of the 1-0 matches. But I have to go with Tim.
Um, I think there is one other one that is equally as even, but I would agree that yes, like of what we're going to of the first one we discussed and the one after this, yes, out of the winners matches, this is definitely going to be the most even. So we move on to the next match, which is Case versus Kane. Now, I mean, we all hate to admit it, but Case is a dominant player. Kane kind of won by the skin of his teeth, whatever that phrase is. I actually don't know it anymore. But
He barely escaped that match with one.
he did, and he didn't win in there. And that was, I would say that was probably an upset too, because most people thought Malcolm was going to win that.
Mm-hmm.
Not handsomely, but most people did still think that Malcolm was going to win. Kane himself even said Malcolm was probably going to win. But once again, it's a lot of times it's about drive in this league, and of the rookies, nobody has the drive that Case does.
You're absolutely right.
Case wants Robert, and he wants Robert bad, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get there. So I unfortunately have to give this one strongly to Case.
Yeah, I agree. Kane is a good player. He's got more than people give him credit for. He's got more than just MCU in his back pocket. He's a good player in the sense that he's good at making educated guesses. He's one of the funniest guys in the league. He's a good friend. But I think that Case just has more knowledge and more drive to get to me. And I do have to give it to Case as well. Are we the exact same so far in our predictions?
Yeah, I don't think we've argued about anything so far. So I think this one will be interesting. I'm definitely interested to see how you're thinking about this one. This next one. So,
Mm-hmm.
as we said, those were all 6 of the winners of the debut matches. So that's for 3 of the spots. There's still 1 spot left in the rookie Fatal 4-Way. Well, what we decided to do for that one is we took the highest ranking of the 0-1 players. So the ones who played in the debut matches did not win, but did put on hella performances. So that came down to the now number 13th ranked competitor, Nazario, against the number 14th ranked competitor, Antonio Chavez. Now, I just got to say with this, you all remember Case versus Antonio. I pledged for Antonio. I was like, this man is getting back in because I'm sorry, that 5-point pool will go down in history for me as one of the greatest 5-point pools I've ever seen. Like, we haven't played a lot of matches in this league with that new format, but that 5-point pool was ridiculous.
What question
I
was
don't care
it?
what anyone says. It was the story of the god that is referenced to in Superman by Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was a pull. I was sitting there like, F this question. Like that was a deep cut, and he pulled it.
Oh, yeah, it was in Superman Returns. Yeah. It was the Prometheus
Yeah.
question from Superman Returns. I remember now, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he pulled that. But speaking of 5-point pulls, if you haven't seen Jay versus Nazario lost that match. Perfect round 1, and a hell of a 5-point pull from Nazario, too. He pulled Downton Abbey from Iron Man 3. That was also a hell of a pull. Both of these guys took their opponent to the last question.
Perfect round 2 and round 3. I mean, perfect round 1 and round 3. He answered all 3 of his questions.
Nazario, yeah, for sure. Both of these guys are super impressive. Honestly, this is so even. The winner of this, they're 1-0 right now. The winner of this is going to be a 1-1, and they're going to get into that foray to get a shot at number 1 contendership. Like, that is huge stakes for these guys. Both of them played super, super, super well. Their opponents just played a little bit better. So for Antonio and Nazario, this is a huge opportunity for them. I'm going to give it to Antonio. I think by the slimmest of margins. I think Nazario had a very, very good round 1. Like I said, he had a perfect round 1 and a perfect round 3. Very good pull. But the fact that Antonio in his debut match took somebody like Case all the way and like didn't seem phased by it. He knew how to play the game. He was in Case's head a little bit even. Case stumbled in his round 3 and almost lost the match. Like I gotta give this one to Antonio.
Yeah, it looks like we're still going to be similar because I am the same way. I'm giving it to Antonio. Like I said, it's not that Nazario didn't impress me. It's just I look at two competitors. Yes, Nazario had perfect rounds 1 and 3. That is something hard to do. But when you go into round 2 the way he did, like don't get me wrong, like it was a spin of the wheel. Like, it was something that was out of his control. But I mean, I look at it someone who faltered in one round and did perfect in other two against someone who did good, if not great, in every single round.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to it, stats wise, I got to go with the person who is good in every round rather than perfect in 2 but failed in 1. Once again, round 2 is completely out of your control and anything can happen. But the fact is, Nazario showed that if something does go wrong, it's going to go wrong quick.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Antonio has shown I can take whatever I am given. So, by the slimmest of margins, I am also going to have to give it to Antonio. I have Antonio being 1-1 and taking that last spot in the rookies fatal 4-way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I guess this is what it really comes down to, Robert. So let's go into that. So now we have the fatal 4-ways. Who do you see on each side coming up to face in the number 1 contenders match? Let's go ahead. Let's get your rookie pick first. Who's
Okay.
your rookie pick?
So competing in the 4-way once again. So we have one side of rookies, one side of veterans. The winner, there's 4 people competing. The winner of each one play each other in a one-on-one match. The winner of that match plays me for the title. On the rookie side, I have Jay versus Tim versus Case versus Antonio. I think Case comes out of that. I think both Jay and Antonio and Tim, everybody has a shot to give Case a run for his money. But anybody who doesn't see Case as a favorite in that match, based purely on knowledge, I just don't buy it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I have it though by the slimmest of margins. Like I actually like did my math, like not any real math, but like I really went like how I feel, like just looking at everything, and it's literally by the slimmest of margins that I have Case up on top. Like these guys are literally like within like one less than 5% of each other from the math I did, showing like their percentage of winning in my head. They're all less than 5% away from each other. Like it's the slimmest of margins that I have one winning over the other. But I also have a Case coming out as the rookie fatal 4-way winner in the number 1 contenders match. Now for the vets, that is a little harder to call. That is because with the vets, like I said, we've seen a lot more of them. But once again, by the slimmest of margins for me, I have Dominic Rizzi coming back and being the number 1 contender on the veteran side. I just think, uh, like I say, it's a lot about want. I know Dominic wants another shot at you because he did not like his performance in the first championship match when it was you against him. It was a new format. And not to say that you had an advantage, but you're a commissioner, so you knew how that match was going to go down a little bit before him.
Well, also Dom is comedically known in this community as somebody who's not good at strategy. So
yeah, and he talked about it after the match that screwed him.
Yeah,
he came to that new round 3 and 4 and realized that he made the wrong decision. I think he wants the chance to come back and prove that he can at least take you to round 5, if not take that belt off of you. So, what do you think for the vets?
I actually don't think it's Dominic. I think that it's Ed.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. Here's the thing. I think that either way, this is an interesting pick for me. I think that either way, the winner of Jeremy versus Ed makes it all the way and wins the 4-way. So I think whether it's Jeremy, I think it's barely Ed, but I think the winner of Jeremy versus Ed then beats Caleb and then wins the 4-way and then goes on to play Case. So I'm going Ed. I think Dominic definitely is hungry for it, but he also hasn't played since that title match. Sandy hasn't played since that title match, and I think that little bit of ring rust is going to hurt them because they haven't been like actively hearing Geek questions. They haven't actively like, even if they're studying, that's not the same as actively playing in a match. So I think either Jeremy or Ed is going to go all the way.
All right, so now it comes to this then. You have Case versus Ed. I have Case versus Dominic. Who do you think comes out on top to face you, the rookie or the vet?
I think it's Case.
You do?
Yeah. I think this is a very interesting match. I think they've played before, maybe in fandom, but never here in Geek, and I do think that Case, we've talked a lot about Drive this video. I think Case is the most hungry for it, more than anybody. So I think that is going to serve him well.
Well then, we are opposite again. I am actually giving it to the vet. I'm giving it to Dom.
Okay.
I think you're wrong. That Case is the only one who wants it as bad. And I think Dominic Grizzly wants it just as bad, if not more, than Case too. Because the thing he has on his side is not only does he want it bad, but he also wants the redemption. And when you are trying to make up for a mistake, it's a little bit more of a drive than just wanting the championship.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's wanting to basically, that I think that drive for him to come back is what's going to drive Dom. And I think it's going to give him that little bit of advantage over Case. Like, I think, because here's the thing about Case too. Case talks a lot of smack, but can back it up. But we have seen it when it can get to his head. And I think if he makes it to the number one contendership, he's not going to care about who's on the other side. And I think that's going to hurt him. Yeah. And out of anybody, like even out of anybody I see coming from the other side, Dominic Rizzi is the one who can take advantage of that. Who can take advantage of, oh, you're not going to take me seriously? Cool. Like, and just watch. And so, yeah, so I see that, especially because let's not forget, a number one contendership match is a championship match. So you have someone going up against someone who has been in that match against someone who hasn't. So Dom's already going to be able to test his new strategy to strategically do it. Mm-hmm. Now, it depends on who's going to be in the lead in rounds 3 and 4 to see if it's going to work. But still, when you have someone who has actually sat there and gone through it compared to someone who has just seen others do it, I got to give the slight advantage to someone who has the experience.
Mm-hmm. That's
so fair. I'm going to say Dominic is the one who's going to see you 4th of July weekend, and he's going to get another shot at that belt of yours.
We'll find out, man. I'm going to screen share and pull up the thing real quick. Can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, for those of you watching, this is kind of a visual recap of what we've just been talking about.
So just for the record, for everybody, we are going to have Jeff Varhue, our amazing editor over in the singles and teams, is working on a graphic for us of this that we will post for y'all. Yeah, that we're going to post for y'all so you can play along. But here's actually where it gets very interesting. You can take it down for a little bit, Robert. I'm gonna make that announcement now. What we decided to do. So, we all know that singles and teams right now have bracket competitions going on. We decided that we wanted to get into that game as well, but we've decided to handle ours a little bit differently. So, and I think this is going to be very exciting. Here's how it's going to work. By tomorrow, we will be posting the bracket, that bracket that Robert just showed you, of how the road to the title is going to work. And it is going to be a contest. However, this contest is only for those who are not on the roster in the Geek League. So you cannot be an active member of Full Metal Geek. So if you've played a match, you are not eligible to participate in this bracket. I'm sorry, but you'll understand why when we tell you the prize. If you can call the entire road to the title, only to the number one contendership match. So basically, you have to predict who is going to be the number one contender in July. If you can actually call all of that, you will earn the number 16th seat in the fall tournament of Full Metal Geek. So if you are not a member of this league, this is a chance to not only be in the league, but to be in the tournament at the end of the year. I decided to put this up there just because I wanted, one, to do something a little different, but also, like we said earlier in this film, me and Robert are constantly getting DMs about everyone who wants to participate in this league. And we unfortunately have to tell everybody that we're closed just because we want to keep these matches going just like this. We want to make sure that Robert gets to face at least 2 or 3 people a year for the belt. We want to make sure there's at least 2 or 3 championship matches where someone has to play for it. And if we add more people, it's just not going to happen because it's going to take us forever just for everyone to debut. Look how long it took us to get the 6 debuters that we have going into the rookie thing. Like, so you can imagine if we tried to let 10, 15 more people in, it would take us all year just to get everybody their one match to debut. So
yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead,
So the once we have the bracket graphic, we're going to post it obviously on the page, and on the page, I'm going to do my best to compile the list of everybody who has DM'd me after we finalize the roster, asking for a chance to play. So for everybody who wanted a chance, who did not get in time to test, I'm going to try to tag them all in that post. And again, if you predict it 100% accurately, every single match, including the 4-ways, including the number one contender match, you will be in the fall tournament, which will give you a shot at the title if you make a run in that tournament.
Exactly, yeah. So for those of you who definitely think you deserve this, go back, watch all the matches, do all the math you can. I would not leave this to chance. No pun intended, but he's not really here anymore, so that joke doesn't work anymore. But go back, watch the matches, make your predictions, see who you think is actually going to take this all the way. Once again, if you do it, you will technically get a chance at that title in the fall. You just got to come and prove that you belong here. And I think being able to predict these matches is a good way to prove that you belong here. So that's about it for us here. That's all we had to announce. We will post this video again after the live. We'll put it up there for everyone to watch, and we'll put a link up just in case anyone was able to miss it. So yeah, so all of you watching live, like we said, if you are not in the league, this bracket is for you. So if you're not on the official roster, well, Nico's asking, okay, so if you tested but you didn't make the roster, you qualify. Like if you were a tester but you didn't make the league, you qualify.
I'm gonna pull up a list of active players that we have on our stats. So these are the people who do not qualify. If I say your name right now, still fill out a bracket, still compete in the fun, but you're not competing for the prize of being in the tournament. All right, so these people are not competing for it. We have myself, Sandy, Dominic, Coho, RJ, Jay, Jim, Case, Harley, Tim, Kane, Timbercall, excuse me, Kane, Ed, Jeremy, Nazario, Antonio, Ryan, Permison, Tim Smith, Lucas Schilbach, Malcolm, Eli, and Jake. If I did not say your name, you can fill out a bracket, and if you predict it accurately, you are in the tournament.
All right, well, that's it from us. Thank you for tuning in on this Sunday morning. I actually have to go to work. But Robert, thanks for joining me. Like I said, we will get that to you no later than tomorrow. We'll get that bracket up there so you can start making predictions on the Master Post. Just do like you do for the other leagues. Just, in the comments, post your picture of the bracket, how you want to do it, and we will keep records of who said what. And while the tournament goes on, we will keep track. Robert, anything left to say to the people or to all the competitors that are in this road to the title?
Good luck. We'll try to get through these matches as quickly as we can, and that way we can get this moving. And I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Well, Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Be sure to go to Full Metal, like the page, like all our matches, subscribe, and we will see you guys this summer. Have a good one.
Bye.